Rappers who went broke in the stupidest of ways. Make sure y'all like the video, comment down below, subscribe, all that goofy shit. Anyway, let's keep going.
Before filing for bankruptcy, 50 Cent was spending $108,000 per month to rent an 18-bedroom mega mansion, while T-Pain's bankruptcy was so brutal that by the end of it, he had to borrow money just to buy Burger King.
I heard that. I heard he had to ask like another rapper. Like, hold on. He had to ask another rapper for like a few $100 so he can go get like Burger King and all kinds of other shit. That's so wild. And T-Pain was making fucking money, bro. Like y'all remember like buy you a drink and all that shit. Like how you go broke after that? That is crazy.
However, let's begin by talking about DMX, who had to file for bankruptcy
RIP, go.
on 3 separate occasions as he couldn't afford child support. You see, DMX had 17 children with 11 different women, and almost every child resulted in some kind of lawsuit or child support requirement. For example, DMX was sued for $1.5 million worth of child support in 2008 after a genetic test confirmed that he was the father of a previously unclaimed baby, which when combined with his declining music career, resulted in his first bankruptcy filing. 4 years later in 2012, DMX was sued by a different ex-partner for a further $1 million worth of child support, and a year after this lawsuit, he'd filed for bankruptcy a second time.
I'd be like, hold on, that's when you gotta put the Riz on her. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey baby, why don't I go ahead, get you out the hood? I'll spend a couple $100 G's and we'll just, we'll call it that. You know what I'm saying? Hey baby, instead of a medium meal, you want to upgrade that to large? I got you. You know what I'm saying?
Third bankruptcy would occur in 2016, during which it would be discovered that DMX had racked up a further $1.7 million worth of unpaid child and family support, which accompanied $950,000 in bank debt and $1.7 million worth of tax debt. Since he had $0 in his bank account, DMX was sentenced to 6 months in prison for the child support, a further year in prison for the unpaid taxes, and was also ordered to pay the government $2.29 million in restitution after he was released from his time behind bars. However, DMX never had
that wasn't a good tax evasion. No, that wasn't a tax evasion W.
The chance to pay the amount back in full, as he died in April 2021. And despite his extensive family tree, DMX never wrote a will, meaning that his family was still involved in money-related legal battles even after he was dead and buried. Tiger was certainly better at managing his child support payments, although he definitely had a weakness when it came to luxury spending. After cultivating his career as a successful rapper, Tiger's name entered news headlines after he'd purchased a $200,000 Mercedes Maybach for his girlfriend, while being $480,000 behind in rental payments on a
$200,000 for your girlfriend? What? Oh man, she lucky to get a Honda. Oh hell no.
Luxury Malibu home. As a result, Tiger was sued by his landlord, although he'd failed to show up to court as he was on holiday in Turks and Caicos. Yet this situation wasn't the only example of Tiger spending big in one area while being financially behind in another.
Super simple. I'm saying, bro, let's just be, I could never in my fucking life spending 200,000, bro, even contemplating spending 200,000 on a car of all things, bro. Like I would be putting that into another property or something, bro. Like, come on.
In 2016, while shopping for a new Bentley, Tiger's Ferrari 458 was repossessed in the parking lot as Tiger hadn't been paying for the loan. Despite this, Tiger would go on to purchase another Mercedes Maybach, as well as a Land Rover, a Rolls-Royce Ghost, and a Rolls-Royce Cullinan, all of which were repossessed for non-payment.
Bro, he did not give a fuck. He gave the lowest amount of fucks possible, bro.
While he was seen looking at a brand new Lamborghini. In addition to this, Tiger was sued by a second landlord for $181,000 after once again missing rental payments in 2016, which was followed by a third property-related lawsuit in 2020, where Tiger had racked up
$400K in debt is so wild. Like, just stop doing it, bro. Like, stop. Hold on. Like, stop buying shit, bro. Like, you don't need it, bro. You can get the money back, but like, why are you gonna keep just saying fuck it and just getting new cars, dude? That's so wild to me.
$200,000 in damages and unpaid rent on yet another rental property. It was then revealed that Tiger was being court-ordered to pay for $200,000 worth of unpaid jewelry, which accompanied the accusation by his ex-girlfriend Black China.
Yesterday, I had to give up 3 of my cars. My reasons: morals, beliefs, being a single mother, no support. I'm a mama. Single, no support, child support. W, no child support.
That he'd been missing child support payments, and just to add a cherry on top of the cake, while all of this was going down, Tiger was in $890,000 worth of tax debt to the government. Despite all of this, Tiger is still seen flexing a lavish life on social media, which is a luxury unavailable to rap producer Scott Storch.
This dude is so fucking wild, dude. Scott Storch, he is one of the wildest people I have ever seen with any kind of like bad money decisions. I've seen so many videos where he's like, yeah, I did a lot of coke. That shit was crazy, but
who blew through $70 million in less than 3 years.
So
Scott had
much
earned this money
money
by producing for some of the biggest names in music, including Kanye West, Dr. Dre, and Jay-Z. Yet Scott Storch's insane net worth began to diminish after he'd purchased an insane supercar collection,
30 cars, including Bugattis and Ferraris and all that kind of stuff,
as well as a $10.5 million mansion where he housed more than 20 staff, including a boat captain, just in case he wanted to go out on his yacht.
just in
Captain was
case.
on full-time staff?
Yeah.
In case you want to take the boat out?
Yeah.
And the boat was how many bedrooms?
That dog is adorable.
7-bedroom boat, worth about how much?
20 million.
20 million.
Scott went on to explain just how much this lifestyle was costing him.
My monthly overhead for my household employees was somewhere in the neighborhood of $1 million a month I was spending.
And that if he continued
Why? The house don't have to stay super clean all the time. Spending $1 million. Oh my God, on fucking servants. That's so wild.
to work, there wouldn't have been any problems, although this isn't what he would do.
It went from me working and delivering to doing drugs and not going to the studio.
I just stopped working, and then I got depressed and jaded.
As mentioned, Scott stopped making music and instead began to get addicted to the nightlife in Miami. And with no money coming in plus $1 million a month going out, it was only going to be so long before Scott hit zero. By 2009, just 3 years after having a net worth of $70 million, Scott had filed for bankruptcy. 6 years later, Scott would file for bankruptcy a second time, claiming to have a grand total of $3,600 of assets to his name.
Bro, imagine being worth 70 million. 70 million. And you go ahead and only have $3,600 worth of assets in your name. Oh my God, I would be fucking crying.
$100 in cash, $500 in clothing, and a $3,000 watch. Most shocking, his music companies are valued at $0, and in 2014 he made a grand total of only $10,000. Throughout this hardship, Fat Joe was one of the only rappers to keep their friendship with Scott, possibly because Fat Joe went through a similar situation himself.
What are these transitions?
Fat Joe earned $1.18 million in 2007, $1.28 million in 2008, $265,000 in 2009, and $630,000 in 2010. However, despite having made this $3.3 million in only 4 years, Fat Joe failed to pay
Not bad,
taxes
bro.
on it. He was able to come up with $718,000 and had also done extensive charity work. However, this wasn't enough to satisfy the judge, who sentenced Fat Joe to 4 months in
I go days with $3 in my account, but don't file bankruptcy. Jeez. True, very based. Was good play.
prison. Despite taking personal responsibility for his actions by stating, "There was a lot going on in the years that I didn't file my taxes, but it was my responsibility." Less than 4 years later, Fat Joe entered news headlines again after the IRS revealed that he still owed them $1.1 million in taxes. However, this number was absolutely nothing in comparison to Fat Joe's friend Lil Kim, who owed almost 4 times more.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Lil Kim looked so fine back in the day, and then just plastic surgery and just all this. Not very based.
And became, quote, too poor to file for bankruptcy. Lil Kim wasn't nearly as successful as some of the other rappers featured on this list. However, this didn't stop her from purchasing a $2.3 million mansion back in 2002, notably with the help of a mortgage. Throughout the 2000s, Kim's music career
Bro, no, man, she like ruined herself, bro. Very sad. Not very based at all.
Dramatically, and by 2018, Kim was filing for bankruptcy as she still owed the full $2 million on her property despite the 16 years that had passed. In addition to this,
So you only paid, in 16 years, you only paid $300,000 on a $2.3 million house. I'm trying to smash, nah, what you mean?
Kim now owed $1.85 million to the government for 13 years worth of unpaid taxes, which accompanied a further $185,000 in unpaid legal fees. The bankruptcy became even worse after discovering that by 2018, Kim was earning a comparatively small $18,000 per month, of which $2,000 went to staff, another $2,000 went to clothing, and $10,000 went to travel fees, meaning she had less than $4,000 per month to dig herself out of $4 million worth of debt. Somehow Lil' Kim managed to quote get her finances into good shape and her bankruptcy filing was dismissed. However, MC Hammer wasn't quite so lucky. Despite having the 5th best-selling hip-hop album of all time, which sold 17 million copies and featured songs such as You Can't Touch This.
Oh my God, 17 million and you just going broke. That's so 17 million sales on an album, which back then, God knows how much. I can't recall how much an album was back in the day. Like, I just remember like $10, whatever. But still, you sell 17 million, one of the biggest hip hop records ever, and you still go broke. Man, just people don't know how to live within their means at all.
MC Hammer.
Watch, one day this video will come back and haunt me. He didn't know how to live back in his means.
Wasn't able to stay out of financial trouble. He bought more than 17 luxury cars, a private jet, 2 helicopters, and 21 racehorses.
Why do you need 21 racehorses? Why? Whatever, man. Some were valued around 1 million. What?
Some of the horses were valued at around 1 million. Most of his expenses, however, were on his home. He bought a property in Fremont, California for 12 million and spent another 30 million on renovations to turn it into his dream home. He added a bowling alley, basketball court, baseball field, recording studio, movie theater, 17-car garage, tennis courts, and 2 swimming pools to the 40,000 square foot mansion.
You just didn't want to fucking travel. You did not want to leave your fucking house. That's what this sounds like.
One of the pools was shaped like his signature baggy pants that came to be known as hammer pants. He added several marble statues of himself throughout the property and installed a gold hot tub in his bedroom. And to keep everything running smoothly, he employed a staff of nearly 200 people on the property, which cost him an estimated $500,000 a month.
You know what? Nah, never mind. You deserve to go broke. This motherfucker just deserved to go broke, bro. Like, come on, man.
Unsurprisingly, less than 5 years later, MC Hammer had filed for bankruptcy, at which point it would be revealed that he hadn't only spent his entire $70 million fortune, but had also taken on a further $13 million.
Oh my God. He got rid of it. He had 73 million and got rid of it in 5 years. That's crazy. That's crazy too. Scott Storch did the same shit. That is so wild. But having a debt of 13 million after spending all that money is so crazy to me.
In loans, which had been borrowed from over 200 different lending institutions.
Why?
Despite having spent a total of $42 million on his California dream home, the property resold for only $6.5 million. However, if we're
I would fucking cry.
on the topic of expensive homes being repossessed by the bank, we need to talk about Birdman, who's ranked as the 15th richest rapper in the world with a net worth of $110 million. But this is what makes Birdman's story unique. If he was worth over $100 million, why was his Miami mansion being repossessed by the bank for non-payment? Birdman had purchased the home back in 2012 for $14.5 million, yet by 2017 a foreclosure suit had been filed by the bank and quote, all personal items within the home, including platinum records gracing the walls, a pool table, and dozens of pairs of shoes, were all confiscated and placed in storage. The mansion was eventually sold by the bank for $10.85 million in July 2020. However, Birdman's lawyer has come out to explain the foreclosure, stating that it was the result of illegal loan terms set by the bank, so perhaps take Birdman's bankruptcy with a grain of salt. However, there's no ambiguity around how T-Pain went broke, as he's now come on multiple podcasts to explain explain just how brutal his bankruptcy was. T-Pain had built up a net worth of over $40 million at his peak in 2007, with all of his closest rap friends advising him that as long as he kept rapping, the money would keep on coming in.
I mean, it was a beautiful home for sure. But nah, man, I mean, I guess that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, hey, just work harder and just put out more, just put out more records. Get another platinum hit in there. And I bet you'll be fine. Makes sense until it doesn't make sense. And then you're having to fucking pay for shit even more.
Everybody before me that I had to look up to, they were just like, no, this is great. Once you start rapping, it's just money all the time. Nothing bad's ever gonna happen. Your family's not gonna come after you. Just rap, and it's just girls and swimming pools after this.
For this reason, his spending began to get out of control.
I bought my Bugatti.
You bought it for $2.1 million.
$2.1 million.
And then you, very shortly thereafter, you sold it for, all they gave you was $800,000.
Yeah.
So it was like
Yeah, that motherfucker depreciates fast.
renting a car for $1.3 million.
Yeah.
With the purchase of his Bugatti accompanying a $400,000 chain and
He has some of the most fucking ridiculous chains I've ever seen in my life, bro. What the fuck?
houses for his workmates.
I got this house I want to get. I got this other house for my assistants and, all my runners and my producers and stuff. So we bought a house after that, and we just started going crazy with the money. I wasn't paying attention to it.
Which was extra bad as T-Pain never even checked in on how much money he had.
I didn't want to know because I was led to believe that it's only gonna grow. Because these rappers told me that I'm just gonna make money forever. It's just gonna keep going up and up.
In the process, T-Pain began to create less music, and within a few years, his accountant was advising him that he was almost out of money.
My accountant was like, dude, you're like out of money. And I was like, no, I'm not.
And while T-Pain seemed confident that he had plenty of cash left, reality set in for him after he'd have to borrow money just to buy food.
When you say you was broke, you had like $0 broke?
I had to borrow money to get my kids Burger King.
What's the most you ever had in the bank at one time?
40 million.
However, T-Pain was lucky to get away with a loss of only 40 million, as the final person on our list makes this number look like loose change, 50
Ooh, that's a fucking bar, by the way. that is a bar.
cent. 50 didn't only release the 10th best-selling American hip-hop album of all time, but he also made over $100 million on a vitamin water investment, plus
W investment.
a further $78 million from a luxury underwear deal. In the late 2000s,
Never heard of him.
50 Cent made an estimated $300 million in only 2 years. So when he'd announced that he was filing for bankruptcy in mid-2015, with debts totaling over $32 million, the entire world was thinking the same thing. How did this happen? Well, after 50 Cent uploaded a sex tape with Rick Ross's girlfriend, 50 was successfully sued for $7 million, which accompanied another court order for 50 Cent to pay $17 million to a headphone manufacturer after one of their collabs went sour. 50 Cent's clothing company G-Unit Clothing then fell out of the spotlight, which accompanied the closing of his movie company G-Unit Productions, as well as his boxing company SMS Promotions.
I ain't gonna lie, man. 50 Cent is a motherfucker, bro. like as far as in the investing and business world, dude. He's that dude. He is that dude. I ain't gonna say that one, Buddha.
Throughout the whole process, the global financial crisis had taken a toll on the value of 50 Cent's investments, and by 2015, he was earning a comparatively small $185,000 per month. You could certainly argue that this was enough for 50 to get back on his feet. However, $108,000 of this monthly income was going toward an 18-bedroom mega mansion, while the remaining $77,000 was going toward menial expenses such as his gardener, with bankruptcy documents revealing that 50 Cent still owed money to his stylist, fitness coach, and even his barber. Despite this, he began to troll on social media with posts such as this one, spelling out the word broke with $100 bills, and within 2 years, 50 Cent had paid back $23 million worth of his $32 million debt. 50 Cent eventually got back to zero, and according to Google, has built up a net worth of $40 million over the last 5 years.
Hey, man. That just, bro. That just tells you, bro, like, people just have the biggest fucking head when it comes to shit sometimes, bro. Like, they just want everything, bro. They want everything. They want gold statues of themselves, all kind of shit. It's so crazy. I think they just get a little bit too... They're just not humbled anymore. They don't give a fuck. Anyway, make sure y'all go ahead, like the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell one time for your boy, and we're out.